Hope you're having a good evening, or morning, or day, or night. What we're going to be doing is creating a simple widget in Ventuz to read weather. We'll pull in weather data, so temperature of a location, and we'll find out whether it's raining or sunny or cloudy, overcast, whatever you want. You can. There's a lot of data that you can pull in. So let's get started. So what you're going to need to do is go to a website called openweather.org, which is this. Now you'll sign up and you'll create an account. It's free, absolutely free. Costs you nothing. They do have paid services if you want more data, more information, or historical data. Well, you can get that, but we want to create something like this where you get the location of that place. As you can see here, this data here, we want to display in Ventuz as a widget. So you might be doing weather graphics for news, or maybe it's just a display for like a display for your arena or whatever it is. It could be for anything, to be honest, or event. You want to display the weather so everyone knows, oh, it's going to rain in an hour or two. Prediction, the forecast. Let them know. Anyway, so you sign up. They'll send you an email. It look like something like this. You get your API key, and they'll give you an example of a API call, which would include your API key as well. So you could just copy and paste this URL here, and use that as it is, or you can edit it. So if you want to, I'm not going to go too much into the API itself of the OpenWeather. It's pretty straightforward. I'm not a script or programmer or whatever. I mainly do design work, but I did understand. It's really easy to understand. If you click on the API docs here, they explain how to do the calls, and how to what you want to call specific thing, or if you want to display in JSON or XML, they'll show you how to string that together or call it in. By default, it's gonna call. It gives you a JSON file which we're gonna be using, and we're gonna be using metric instead of imperial because we're gonna be working with Celsius. If you do want to change it into Fahrenheit, that's pretty easy. You're just changing this part here at the end. Instead of metrics, as you can see, it's imperial, and you can go through it, and it's pretty good documentation. It's straightforward. Anyway, so once you do that, you have a URL that you'll be able to use. So this is my URL. So as you can see, I've got London here, and this is my ID. And you can see here I'm saying I want metric, so this is the one I pieced together, and I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to go to Ventuz, new scene, right, empty scene. Okay, we're going to need some text, so axis, we're going to need text 2D, and then we're going to put our text in here, and we're going to say center. Okay, and make this nice and big. So I'll just call this, for example, this is going to be our temp, this is going to be our temperature, and I'm going to duplicate this, and this is our location. So we're going to put this right underneath. So we have these like our placeholders of our graphic kind of ready, like what we want to link our data to. You could of course choose a different font. I'm going to scroll down, projects, we'll just choose this nice bold font. There we go. I have a nice bold font. There we go. So once we've got our block text ready, now let's focus on getting that data into Ventuz, or that from that URL that we just copied. So as you can see, I copied that URL, go back into Ventuz. All we're going to do is create a convert to text. We're going to use a convert to text node, which you can find either in the logics, I believe, logic, convert to text, and when we're going to click on the format, So here in the format, we're going to paste our URL. Really simple. I'm going to press wrap so you can see it better, because I don't want to move the windows too much around. But as you can see, this is our URL. Where it says London, I'm going to change this to squiggly bracket 0. So then now this allows me to say I can type in here whatever location I want, and it will update this string of the URL, you know. And if you do want, you can change the ID and then, you know, expose that. But for now, all we need is just change our location. Actually, let's just do an extra one. Where it says metric here, I'm gonna do as well squiggly brackets. Press. So now you can switch. We'll do it so you can switch between Fahrenheit or thing, Celsius. But yeah, it doesn't matter, to be honest. You can do whatever you like. So we're gonna have Multiswitch. Multiswitch. I'm gonna name this location. Location. For example, this is really simple, nothing too overcomplicated. I'm gonna copy this, paste, Control C, Control V, and I'll call this one. I don't know, what do you call it? I just call it metric / imperial. Okay, cool. So 0 will go to location, and it'll be our output count. Should be the output. No, not the output count. It'll be the whatever the output is. We don't have any output, so I forgot to add that. So we want output of a string, which will be string A, which will be the output A. So if I go here, take 0, it'll be output A, and again the same here. Add an output string, and our output is A, so 1 will go to that, and it'll be output A. Okay, so now in here, what I can do is if I go here to the open wither, well, we know that they say the units is in metric. Well, they have actually standard, metric, and imperial, but we're going to use metric, for example. So if I copy this and paste it in metric, and if I go back to the website, imperial, you can type this in, of course. Okay, so we've got metric and imperial. Here you can choose the locations. Now you can hit the plus button. I'll just do 4 locations, for example, and just do like London, London, Berlin, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. You can add more to it, less to you. You can have 1 location, 2 locations, multiple location. Anyway, and when I change that index, as you can see right now, the string now is created. It says it was metric and it's London. You can also be more specific, so you can do geolocations. That's all in the documentation, and you can break this all down, and then you can do geolocations, you can do cities, or you can do just a region or postcode, I believe, as well. So you can really narrow it down. I'm just going to do just like something like this. Anyway, so we have this, and this is creating this new URL string. And what we're going to do is drive these graphics here on screen to show that data. So we need this a text file. So we're going to toolbox. We're going to grab a text file. So if we go into data, text file, then make sure we have async turned on so it doesn't freeze when it changes. Async, okay. File, we're going to link that to our convert to text. And as you can already see here, we're getting the data into our text file. Now what we want to use is the JSON parser, which will be linked to our text file. and you click on the text for the JSON, and you're like, well, nothing has happened. You just see the, you know, the script, the JSON script formatted correctly here. But if you scroll down here to go all the way to the bottom of the screen of the node and hit update, what it'll do is create the outputs for you. So you can create these outputs if you know what they are, or you can just, it's quite smart, the node, where you just say yes and it creates these outputs for you. And we want to say, okay, we want to split this list off, and then once you split it off, you see it automatically creates the node for you, and then you can split off multiple nodes again off this one node. So as you can see, so we want, for example, if I go to main, we want the temperature, so I'll say, okay, I want main. So I click on main, click on the little arrow here, and I have main, which will now provide me with, you know, the temperature if I want to know what it feels like, or humidity. I only really want the temperature, so I just need that. For example, as well, if I want to say get the location name, I can get it from here as well. So I can expose, this is already exposed for us, so we could link that location name to here, or we can link it to our output, because we already have a list here of our locations, which we're doing in our manually, but we can also get the location from here too. So if I go to location on our text, and I'll just move the text somewhere over here. Let me just tidy this up so it's nice and tidy. Okay. This block text, and I'll just say name, and it says London. And the cool thing is, when I change the location as well, you can see New York City, Hong Kong, Berlin. There you go. As you can see here, it just says New York. So if you wanted it to say New York and not use what they name it here, then of course you can you know, you can just link it to your location here and name it what you like. Or you could edit this as well, it doesn't matter. So the location, as you can see, is now linked. Now what we want to do is get the temperature. So I'm going to move the temperature text over here. Now you notice on the temperature, right now it'll say like 4.33. If I go to say London, which is on 0, so London, and we check the temperature, right now it's actually says it is at 10.72. However, they don't display it as 10.72, it will be rounded up to like 11. You know, as you go, if you go to the home page here, as you can see, it's, for example, right now, okay, this one says it's 10, so it's updated again, so it's at 10, so it rounded it up to 10. Or if it was closer to 11, it will round it up to 11. And we can do the same. So what we'll do is just drag this and say I want the temperature. That's going to give us 10.72. It's closer to 11, so if I drop an integer node in here, in between, this rounds it up closest for us, the closest number high or low, you know. So I just found using the integer in between works well. Now it doesn't show us Celsius or Fahrenheit, which is based on this metric here. So what we can do is add that in ourselves. So we could use a convert to text and then switch that ourselves. So really simple. But we want another multi-switch. So this will be our multi-switch. I could have just copied and pasted this, to be honest. Let's just copy and paste this. Copy, paste. Okay. And we're gonna do, I'm just gonna copy the symbol for Celsius. I'm just copy and pasting. So in my metrics, it'll be this, and this one will be Fahrenheit F, and I'll link the index to this index. That makes sense. So now if I change this index here, imperial, this will just give me an output of Fahrenheit. And then I'll go back and change that to metric. This is back on Celsius. Okay. So it's really simple, and as you can see, as I change that, the temperature also displays differently. So, but however, we want to add the little symbol in between. So what we're going to do is I'm going to convert to text. I'm going to use a convert to text in between here. Convert to text. Okay. And then we're going to add squiggly brackets 1 in the format, and then 1 will link here to our output A. So now it'll be 11 Celsius. Really simple. It's not much coding. All it is just converting. We're just using some convert to text, some switches, and the node is splitting it all for us, so you don't need to really understand it. You can just hover over and you can get what you want out of it. So for example, we've got our temperature. So if I change the location, as you can see, New York, Hong Kong, Berlin, everything's changing. And then, like I said, change that to Fahrenheit. Again, you can change that. As you can see, it works the same way. And you can of course make a touch, maybe if you want to make it as a touch screen, and you know, make a drop down menu and you click it and you change on screen rather than having, you know, me switching it here. You can have buttons on the screen that will switch this. You can do that really simple. We'll probably do this in a later stage, but I want to keep it really short and simple, just so you can see how easy it is to get data in and drive a graphic. Anyway, so we've got our temperature and thing. So I'm going to scale this temperature up slightly, get nice and big. Yeah, something like this. Okay. I'm gonna say, okay, I want an axis and I want a color solid and a rectangle. So next, what we're gonna do is we want to display the icon for that weather or for that area. So if it's raining or sunny or cold or snowy, they have icons for these. And the cool thing is you can use what they have, or you can create your own and reference what icon to load, and it's all coming from here, the same place. So if I click on shift click this, so this is our color, solid color over here. I'm gonna just place it here, somewhere over here. Let me make this slightly bigger, so because there's a lot of content, but I don't know how easy it is to see on the window. Let's make this smaller and try to make the content window slightly bigger, because we don't need to see graphics are nothing fancy happening right now, but a lot of it's happening here. Anyway, so we want to populate this with an icon. So we're going to go to our stage editor, so material stage, texture, base alpha, and then where it says the file, this is what we want to populate with a URL, like a string. And we know that if we click on our list here, if we go to weather, it says clouds, so it's giving us a description, but also, as you can see, there's an icon. So if I pop this out, say okay, we want this data here, you can see here I have an ID and I have an icon. It gives me each icon has its own ID as well, and it's really simple. So all we're gonna do is use a convert to text. Nothing too difficult. And if you go through the documentation, there's a URL that shows you how to reference the icons right now. So for example, you know, clear sky, showery rain, snow, they've got so many, and of course you could probably design your own icons and just reference, save them as the same files name, so then when you reference when it references the icon, you could bring in an animated sun or cloud, and maybe I'll do another video on that. But yeah, we can do that definitely. Anyway, there's a whole full list of codes. If I click open link, here's a full list here. But yeah, you can definitely do that. Anyway, what we want is this URL, so we'll just copy this URL. Okay, so if you do want to get that link is openweather.org/weather-conditions, and this will bring up this. Okay, but we want to copy this URL. Okay, and I'm gonna put in my format right here. A lot of it is copy and pasting and just understanding what we'll do. So we know that this is the file, right? This is the actual name, the .png. So here the icon is what we're changing, right? Which is gonna be this. So if I put in squiggly brackets and 0 will come from the icon. And now if I link the file, the color, to the convert to text, as you can see, we import that URL. We're getting that cloudy, that cloudy texture. So now if I change this back to metric, I like to see I'm used to metric, so I'm gonna keep it at Celsius, whatever it is. But when I change the location, we should see, there we go, different location. I don't know, where somewhere sunny, I don't know, let's say I don't know, think of them. Let's see what's the weather like in China, for example. There we go. And you get a sun icon. So you get depending on what the location is, you get a different location, different weather. So I mean, if I do, I don't know, I'm just thinking, so did I do Paris? I don't know. South Africa. I'm just saying a country rather than a thing, but go to South Africa. Oh no, so it'll be Joburg, so Johannesburg. I don't want to spell it wrong, so I'm just gonna Google it. Joburg, Johannesburg, for example. Go back, paste it in here. There we go, Johannesburg. Oh, it's also cloudy, but I mean, there's a bit of sun, but you get the idea. Each location has its own data and icon, and it's pulling it, and you can see it changing. It does work, even though the weather's not looking too good for everyone right now. It's cloudy everywhere, but I don't know. There must be somewhere sunny right now, but I just can't find it today. Tonight. Anyway, so that's our icon. We've done this, so we've got icon here, got a little little information with data. Okay, so and our weather icon. As you can see, it's quite low res icon. These are normally used like for some really small sites or tickers or something like that. But if you create your own high res one, then you can have it animated for each icon and then load those in. So you can do some really cool stuff with it. Okay, but let's just create a backplate for this. So axis, I'm gonna drop this at the top, get a rectangle, add a color to this, solid color, whatever you want. Got a little widget here, nice. Yeah, with little temperature. Let's make these text smaller. It's down. Just smaller. Yes. Slightly bigger to see if you're gonna do like, you know, the text size will change depending on what it is. This seems to just be just about right, but you get the idea. Just change this to bottom. It's down. Okay. Yeah. Have a little widget. I can do is put these all in a group. Get another color solid. Then load in the texture. Base with alpha. Right. This is gonna be a decal. And you can load in whatever reflection texture you want. I want these blurry ones. And there's some additive, so operation, let's say screen smooth, and then say reflection, world space reflection. My clamp will be set to wrap, and I'll just play around with the scaling a bit. Nothing too fancy. I'm gonna just push this back plate forward, back a tiny bit so it doesn't cut into Z space now, and I'll rotate this. I've got a little widget plate, as you can see. Yeah, we just made a simple graphic, nothing too fancy. If, for example, if this is a, this could be on the lower third strap, or on a ticker on the screen, or it could be a bug on the screen, where it's just showing you the weather, you know, different locations. Just shove it in the corner. Perhaps it's really up to you what you do. Not going too much into the graphic side, but as you can see, we've got some nice data in here, and you know, you can pull all sorts. So you can get like wind direction, and then you can, you know, have a little arrow pointer that animates in the direction of the wind. It's quite a lot you can do with it. It's quite cool. What I'm gonna do is just add another rectangle. I'll make this one slightly darker. It's up. Down. Yeah, I'm gonna just add a new solid color in the background. I just turn this so it's not completely back, so you just have something there for now, so I can just see this stand out a bit better. So this is my back plates. So if I just make a group, for example, so you know that's my back plates. Always BG, so that's my back, you know, that's my back plates. And then if I want, I can group these and group my data and say, oh, okay, this is data. All my data's all here. If you want, you can organize this. You could containerize all of this, so if you want, and then expose them out, so you know you don't have a big spider web if you have so much coming off. But because we use so little, you know, you don't have to do that much. Anyway, I'm gonna add another axis here. Text 2D, block text. I'll just call this the news. Whatever you want, the news. Okay. Copy, center text. I'm just turning this into some sort of graphic just to give you an idea. It doesn't need to be for the news. It's just change that font. Kind of going a bit fast here, apologize, but Yeah, I could say live, and I'll just change the coding on there. So you get the idea that this could be a bug in the top corner of your screen, and then these graphics would drop out or whatever you want. There you go. Now let's click on our location. What we're just going to use is a counter. Okay, I'm going to get counter and a mover. So you can see we've got counter, we've got a mover. So I want it to count 0 to 3. So on the counter, it'll be 3. I'm going to say loop, and we want it to go forward. So we want the index linked to our counter and the forward to our mover, and we want this to change, say, every, I don't know, 5 seconds. Every 5 seconds this will just change and that data will update. So you have a little widget built that tells you the weather in different regions or locations, gives you an update. This could be like a live weather bug, or on your ticker, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even have to be to do with broadcast. It could just be an information screen, or whatever you want. It doesn't. You can display it how you want. But yeah, hopefully that was useful. You enjoyed that. I will make another video, where we create our own icons. That'll be animated, for example. Perhaps we'll cover that. If you do like that, do hit the like, and put a comment in below in the description to let me know if you're interested in that. Yeah, anyway, enjoy your day, morning, evening, or night. Thank you again. I always enjoyed doing this stuff. Yeah, bye bye.